right, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and I want to thank you for joining me again this week. Now, when it comes to gaining muscle, making progress in the gym, and progressing through your fitness journey, so many people think the workout and the exercise is where all the progress is happening. But the work is actually happening afterwards, right? In all the things that you do in between those workouts. The exercise itself is actually where you break your body down, right? That rebuilding, the growth, the improved energy, and the results you're looking for happen afterwards. And when you consistently ignore that recovery portion of the equation, your body's going to force you to slow down, right? There might be a longer time of feeling good for one person than another. Like some people are more resilient to quote unquote beating their body up. But at some point in time, your body will say that's enough. And that shows up in different ways, like injuries, like slower recovery, like super sore muscles, crushing fatigue, right? It happens in a lot of different ways, but your body will tell you to slow down if you are not doing what you need to do in between that exercise. Now, I had a huge wake-up call because recently I've been getting back into exercising and lifting to a point where I could push myself and it feels really good. But I'd probably say about 2-ish months away from the gym. Now, when I say that, I was in the gym every day because I train my in-person clients in the gym. But what was happening was I wasn't exercising, and even grabbing weights for my clients, whether they be 10, 20, or 60 pounds, really didn't matter. When I would pick them up, it would create a lot of tension in my head, in my forehead, near my eyebrows. A lot of pressure there would build up. And so I immediately thought, man, I have a blood pressure problem, a blood sugar problem, a postural hypertension. Like I'm thinking of all these things that it could be as to why I felt that way, but nonetheless, it was scary, right? I'm 31 years old. I consider myself fairly athletic and I love to exercise and I would do it on a regular basis. So when this was happening, I'm saying to myself like, oh no, here we go. Like what could be wrong with me? And is it something that's going to put me out of the game long term to where I can't exercise? Because that's my space to relieve tension. It's my space to clear my mind, to have a positive mindset. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm exercising, I can use that to channel motivation, to channel just a positive frame of mind towards myself and life in general. So I was getting pretty frustrated and kind of concerned. So I took it upon myself to seek help, right? I went to my regular practitioner doctor. I went to a chiropractor. I went to my ear, nose, and throat doctor. Like I started making these appointments and they all started telling me similar things, that I was quite fine. You know, blood pressure was normal. Blood sugar was normal. Just no abnormalities that they could see through their general testing. And I refused to believe that I was okay because I knew I wasn't. And believe it or not, by a stroke of luck, I call this the universe, a good friend of mine who is a masseuse, who actually was my masseuse for a long time, and I just hadn't talked to her in a while, had sent me a message saying that she knew someone in the area who was looking to do some training and was going to send them my way. So by default, I said, wow, okay, thank you for thinking of me, number one. But number two, are you still doing massage? Because I think I could use one, right? I didn't know exactly what it was, but I just felt that there was pressure in the base of my skull, that it was causing some nerve issues and blood flow issues. And so I wanted to see if she could help because she's very knowledgeable and helped me out with other injuries that I had in the past. Right? So long story short, I don't need to play out the whole scenario. I went and got a massage. She said I had hypertension in my back and in my neck that was restricting blood flow in through my skull. And when I would, tense myself or brace or pick up heavy weight, that was causing that to be exacerbated, right? It was causing a further problem, and it was causing pressure, and the lack of blood flow into my head was causing that pressure feeling. So after about 3 massages, believe it or not, I feel amazing. Now, I know that it's going to come with more maintenance and more awareness, but the reason why I'm telling you this story is because that all happened because of lack of recovery. Now, I said I'm someone who works out a lot. I really enjoy it, and I can push myself. When it comes down to it, I can really push myself. But the amount of exercise and pushing myself that I was doing wasn't even close to the amount of, well, I'm saying that backwards, was way more than the amount of recovery that I was doing to counteract all of the breaking down of my body that I was doing, right? And again, the problem when I look back at it wasn't necessarily that I was training too hard, because, our bodies are resilient, and if you enjoy it, you can train pretty hard. But the problem was that I wasn't doing enough to help my body recover from that training. So the key thing I want to point out here is that I was making the time to work out, but I was not making the time to recover. And eventually, like I said before, my body made this decision for me that I couldn't work out at all. It was done. Well, not that it wasn't done, not that it was done, but it was fatigued. It was going through some pain, and that was my signal from my body to stop working out and figure it out. So, no matter who you are, eventually, your body will send you the signal that something needs to change. You need to take care of yourself in order to continue up with the workload that you're putting on your body. And this doesn't always mean that you're exercising. I mean, you could have a physically demanding job. You could be in a bad posture if you work at a computer. That can cause stress and cause your muscles to need some recovery. So this comes in all different shapes and sizes, and you don't have to be some extreme weightlifter or marathon runner to experience the need for recovery. So if you're a human being, listen to this applies to you as well. Now, with the fact of exercising, right? Like if you're someone who's listening to this, you probably do some form of exercise, even walking, right? We need to understand that exercise is what we call catabolic. It's breaking the body down, whether that's tearing muscle fibers, whether that's depleting your energy, depleting your hydration and your fluids, your minerals. It's breaking the body down and making it become resilient, and hopes that it will restore that energy, restore those muscles, restore that hydration, and become stronger and more resilient and adapt to the workload that you're demanding of it, right? And the workouts feel productive though, because you're sweating, your heart rate increases, your muscles feel pumped, right? Your endorphins are flowing, and you feel accomplished afterwards, right? All of those things are happening all at once. It's amazing. And all of those things are great, but exercise is still a form of stress on your body, right? Think about strength training. It creates small micro tears of your muscle fibers, which is damage to your muscle. Your body then needs the proper materials and enough time to rebuild those muscles to become stronger, right? The workout creates the signal to your body. The recovery determines how well your body responds to that signal. So it is a vital part of the equation when we're talking about growth, fat loss, muscle building, longevity, endurance, whatever those things are that you're seeking to attain. Recovery is so important. And I hate when I say this because I don't like to say that I'm like old, but after beating my body up from playing sports from a young kid at 31, you feel it, right? My body does not recover naturally the way it did when I was younger. And I think this is where my mindset is off. And that's the reason why I hadn't recovered and done the proper things up until now, is because I could go play sports. I could go do a tournament during a weekend. I could lift weights. I could run. I could do all those things and just kind of bounce back and be cool with it. Same way as maybe you like to party and drink when you were younger and you didn't get a hangover and you could work or go to class the next day. Same thing goes with exercise. So now that I'm in my 30s, let's call it, right, because I am, the exercise, it affects me more, right? So maybe if you're in your 50s or 60s, it's even more prevalent. There used to be a time where you could go do 2 workouts a day or really lift heavy or go for miles and miles on your bike or run that far and you'd be fine, but now it's not. And we really need to pay attention to that, because even when I was younger, I should have been recovering better, but now my body is telling me that I must, right? It's not even a question anymore. I must, or else it'll be to a point where I can't anymore. And we also need to realize that more exercise is not the answer. And this is especially important for women who are trying to lose weight during the peri and postmenopausal phases, because it's easy to believe this story, right? It's easy to believe I need to burn more calories. I need to do another workout. I need to train harder. I need to stop taking rest days. If I just worked out 7 days a week, I'd finally hit my goal, right? These are the things that we tell ourselves. But when you're already stressed, when you're sleeping poorly, when you're under eating protein, and when you're rushing throughout your day, adding more exercise is not going to be the missing piece. I promise you that. You may not need to work harder. You may need to support your body in a better way in between those workouts that you're already doing. And hey, there's been some clients that I've talked to and that I've looked at their labs, and they need to work out less. Like they needed to dial it down a good bit to manage things, recover, and get back on track. Now, I'm going to go over some of the things that I wrote down as the main recovery foundations, because you might say, well, Sean, what does recovery look like? All I know is stretching, right? Now, there's a lot of things that go into recovery. Some may have a hierarchy over the others, and you don't have to do all of them, but it's important that you understand what they are so that you can use them in your life. You know, a lot of them are free. They just take a little bit of structure, timing, and understanding, right? First thing is protein and nutrition, right? We all know that your body needs protein to repair and maintain muscle, or maybe we didn't know that and we know now. So when your muscle fibers tear from lifting weights or doing whatever, your muscles need amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, in order to repair muscle and allow it to grow and recover. So after training, a goal of yours should be to eat a balanced meal built around a quality protein source, right? Some colorful vegetables, a whole food carbohydrate. You know, you got your potatoes, you got your rice, your quinoa, things like that, and healthy fats based on your needs. I know that everyone needs different nutritional, components to their diet, but when it comes down to it, it's whole foods, right? Whole food protein, fats, and carbs, and veggies, right? Load up on that stuff. You do not need this perfect post-workout shake within 5 minutes, or else you're screwed and you can't get your recovery results. You really just need to eat consistently enough and nourish your body throughout the day. Now, yes, there are more optimal times for nourishing your body, like post-workout, right? Like if you had a post-workout shake and you drank it after your workout, yes, you could experience more recovery or more benefits. But if you're not even there yet to where you're nourishing your body consistently throughout the day, let's start with that. Another thing is hydration and minerals. When I talk to folks about hydration, we think about, I just need to drink enough water. Well, realistically, if you're drinking filtered water or tap water or something that doesn't have minerals and any type of glucose in it, you could just be flooding your body with liquid, filling up your bladder and making you pee more, which essentially is dehydrating you of the minerals that are in your body. You see, your body doesn't just want filtered water. It wants minerals and nutrients to give back to your cells to support and create energy. So if we're not mineralizing our water properly, you could be making the problem worse. Now, I don't mean to say that to fearmonger and scare you, but if you're chugging a ton of water that has nothing in it and you feel like you're peeing a lot, well, you're filling your bladder up because your body's not absorbing what's in the water and it's able to fill up faster, and that's causing you to send a signal to you to say, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, when if you were properly hydrating and mineralizing your water, then your body would absorb those nutrients and minerals. And yes, you would still have to pee, but it wouldn't be like you need to drink an excess amount of water to compensate for that. You could just hydrate properly. So you can support your hydration with sipping water throughout the day. If you're watching this on video, I'm showing you my canteen, my Yeti. It's 40 ounces. I carry this with me literally at all times. I don't always chug it, but I'm sipping it throughout the day so that I'm always continuing to hydrate. Now, what I do is within this 40-ounce jug, I put a pinch of mineral salt that brings the minerals and electrolytes that I need into my jug. Maybe you need actual electrolyte drinks if you're sweating profusely, but that's probably the only time you should use that. Then we have fruits and vegetables. You can support your hydration with eating those things because they're mainly made of water as it is, right? And they have the sugar that's necessary and the minerals that are necessary to hydrate your body. And like I said, you can use some mineral salt based on your individual needs and some professional medical guidance. I'm not going to tell you to do a certain amount. I just do a pinch in my water, and that does the trick for me. So I want you to pay attention, though, with hydration to headaches, fatigue, muscle cramps, low energy, and poor performance in your workouts. If those things are happening on a regular basis, good chance is you're not hydrating enough or properly, right? You might just be drinking a ton of water and not getting the proper minerals that you need. The next tool, the next focus is sleep. Sleep is the all-around GOAT of all recovery. There is nothing better than it. It is the most powerful tool that you have available, and it's free, right? While you're sleeping, your body is working on things like muscle repair, hormonal regulation, nervous system recovery, your memory and cognitive health, and your hunger and craving regulations. So all of that is happening while you're getting deep sleep, and that's why people talk about sleep so much, right? Because realistically, you could take supplements, you could stretch, you could do the sauna, foam roll, but none of those can replace or equate to consistently poor sleep. Like if you're not sleeping, all of those things combined will not help you. So much importance goes on to sleep. I'm not going to go too deep because I've done episodes on specifically sleep in general, and you can go check those out as well. The next one is mobility and tissue care, right? You don't need to be someone who does an hour-long stretching routine and is perfect with it. You can start with 5 to 10 minutes of stretching. You can start by foam rolling the tight areas. Specifically, what I like to do is hips, your upper back, and like your legs, your quads, and your hamstrings. Mainly though, the hips, like the outside of the glutes, are muscles that attach and go down into your legs and your knees, and the muscles that attach there also go into your back. So if you're having any knee problems, any low back problems, a part to foam roll could be your hips, and that could cause some relief. That could cause some release there. Another thing you could do is some gentle mobility work, some normal opening of the shoulder joints, the hip joints, and you can do those right on YouTube, right? You can look up gentle mobility routine, 5-10 minutes. Do it right at your house. Another thing you can do is take a walk after your workout. You know, you might push yourself very intensely. That causes lactic acid to build up. So just walking helps flush that stuff out in a gentle way. And then another thing for recovery, this might sound like it's not recovery, but is a warm up prior to lifting, right? You're priming your body to do the movement and add the stress onto your muscles and your body before you do it, right? So you're getting blood pumping to all your muscles. You are doing the range of motion that you would for that day and that movement. Like for example, what I try to do is if you're doing squatting, like let's say you're doing heavy squats, well then you should do some body weight squats. If you're doing heavy deadlifts, you should do body weight hip hinges. If you're doing heavy shoulder presses, you should do an air press with just your hands, right? You're doing that range of motion prior to lifting, and that helps you in the recovery phase because you're less likely to get injured. And the goal isn't to be like some professional stretcher or contortionist. The goal is simply to keep your body moving well enough so that you can continue training safely. So if you keep doing this, if you keep stretching and foam rolling, even when you aren't hurt, your body will feel good enough to just continue down the road. The next focus is stress and nervous system recovery. And we need to realize that recovery is not only physical. Again, most times if I were to say, what is recovery? You might think stretching. And that's what I would think as well, right? But if your brain and your nervous system are constantly in go mode, your body's going to struggle to fully recover. And this is where people get confused. They think, I'm not stressed or I'm recovering. Well, guess what? If your mind is like a dripping faucet of low dose chronic stress, you're going to have issues. And we don't want that, right? We need to learn how to turn off the mental and the nervous system. So some helpful things that you can do for that are slow breathing. Literally just take a deep breath, calm down, and slow down your pace. In through your nose and out through your mouth longer than you normally would if you were hyperventilating or breathing while you're exercising. Another thing you can do is a quiet walk. I'm talking no headphones, no music, no podcasts. Just go for a walk by yourself. Listen to the birds. Listen to the cars passing by, right? Listen to your breath. Time outside in general. I'm telling you, my wife and I we live near Valley Forge National Park, if you know where that is, and it's a protected park, so it's just trees and obviously valleys and walking paths, and oh my God, my soul was so happy just walking around there. So time outside. You could do meditation or prayer. Now this isn't for everyone. You might not be religious, you might not pray, but it's just really time to spend by yourself and be quiet, right? Without your phone, without the TV, maybe in a dark room with your eyes closed, just focusing on being present. That's very powerful, even if it's for a minute or two. You could relax without looking at your phone. It's summertime now. Maybe you go pop open a lawn chair or go sit by the pool or go to the beach and leave your phone at home or put your phone in your bag on do not disturb and just be, right? You don't have to be doing anything. You don't have to be productive. You could just be. And then the last one, which is maybe one of the most important, is spending time with people who make you feel happy and feel grounded. You know those friends and family members and folks that are close to you that just make you feel good, that you can have a good conversation with, that you can hang out with and not feel like you're judged, right? Like those are the people you need to spend time with, especially in the phase of recovery, right? And just, realize that all of these things don't have to be done at once. They can be used as tools and in certain areas and times of your life. But I do want to urge you to stop waiting until your body forces you to rest. Like I said before, it took me to feel like I had a blood pressure problem and my head was going to explode before I actually did something about it. Now, thank God I did listen to that signal and take action, because it could have gotten worse or who knows what could have happened. But I took action. My goal for you is that doesn't happen to you. You don't have to wait until you get injured or have a severe pain in order to do something about it, right? Because the reality is most people only focus on recovery after something hurts. They wait until they get injured, their sleep gets worse, their energy tanks, their performance is stalling out, right? Like they don't know why they can't progress in the gym, they're losing motivation, or they can't even complete their normal workouts. That's when people focus on recovery. When realistically, recovery should not be this emergency response that we kick into high gear as soon as something goes wrong. It should be a part of the plan from the beginning, right? You brush your teeth to prevent cavities and to prevent other problems. You should think about recovery in the same way, right? Now, what does recovery not mean? Because this is where people get into their heads. They start thinking the wrong mindset towards recovery. And recovery does not mean that you're being lazy. It does not mean that you're avoiding challenging workouts. It doesn't mean sitting on the couch all day because you exercised yesterday. That is not recovery. Recovery means you're giving your body what it needs so it can actually train consistently, so it can build and maintain muscle, so you can improve your energy instead of reducing it, so you can reduce your risk of injury. That was me. Maybe I would just continue to feel good if I took care of that, so that you can feel better outside of the gym and so that you can continue doing the activities that you love. Like me, I love lifting. If you love kayaking or going on hikes or riding your bike, how annoying would it be if all of a sudden you couldn't do those things because your body hurt? And I'm not saying you can't get injured and things can't happen. Even if you recover, they can. But man, would it be cool to just maintain that and keep on rolling, Like your car. If you're driving your car and your dashboard lights up that you need an oil change, you go get an oil change, hopefully, and that keeps things running smoothly and you just marry on your way. But if you ignore that signal and you don't get your oil changed and you keep driving and driving, well, over time something could go wrong, right? Where now you have to spend thousands in repairs rather than the $60 oil change that would have taken you 30 minutes to do. Now your car's in the shop. The same exact thing applies to your body, right? So, simple recovery challenge for the week. Now, what I did was write a list of 7 things that I could think of that you could do pretty simply, and all I want you to do is choose 2 and try to focus on them for the next 7 days and just see how you feel. So here's the list, right? Eat a protein-focused meal after training. And I'm talking whole food protein. And if you need to do a shake, you can do a shake, but protein-focused meal. Number 2, add 5 minutes of mobility after each workout. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Look up a YouTube video, say full body mobility, and you can do it right at home. Number 3, drink water consistently throughout the day. That doesn't mean wake up and drink a gallon because you think you should drink a gallon. That means invest in one of these water bottles, keep it with you, and sip that thing consistently throughout the day. And if you want to hack, add a pinch of salt every time you fill up. And when I say salt, I don't mean table salt. I mean either Baja Gold mineral salt or Celtic sea salt. It's got to be mineral salt. Number 4, go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Maybe you're just staying up too late and you could get that extra 30 minutes to ground yourself and get better sleep. Number 5, take a 10-minute walk without your phone. Leave it at home, go around the block, and you're not in a rush. This isn't an exercise walk. This is tilt your head up, look at the sky, smell the air, listen to the wind, right? And just put a smile on your face. Number 6, practice 3 minutes of slow breathing. It could even be 2 if you want, if you're not used to doing that. But set a timer, just be present with yourself and do some deep, slow breaths. Number 7, schedule at least one lower intensity or rest day. This is an intentional day but not killing yourself. That could mean going for a light walk, going for a light bike ride, doing some mobility for 30 minutes, but schedule it in as if it's a workout so that it's on your calendar and you're going to spend time to do it regardless. Now, those are my things that I want you to just do 2. 1 or 2 of those and try them this week. Don't try to overhaul your entire life. Just pick those 2 and try to do them consistently and see how you feel, because then you can put these tools right in your tool belt and then you can have them at your disposal. Now, I know that the workouts and exercise might be the exciting part, but it is only one piece of the progress, right? And the process. Your body doesn't need to become stronger just while you're lifting the weights. It becomes stronger when it has the opportunity and the resources that you're giving it to rebuild after those workouts. Now, I told you before that I had to learn this lesson the hard way by being forced away from working out for multiple months, right? And this happened before when I was younger and I busted up my knee, which I thought was hurt, but I just needed some recovery, right? You do not have to wait for that to happen. You don't have to be exhausted or pain or get injured to start taking recovery seriously. Now, that doesn't mean we can't train hard, right? You should train hard when it's time to train, but then I want you to hydrate, sleep, breathe, eat, and recover. Like, those things matter just as much or even more, because they do. So just ask yourself, right? Am I actually under training or am I under recovering? You might not need to push harder in the gym. You might just need to recover a little bit more and maybe dial down your training a bit. So choose one recovery habit from this episode and start practicing it today, right? If you want more guidance on things like supporting your metabolism, your energy, your hormones, recovery during menopause, you can do one of 2 things. You can listen to my free menopause masterclass that I put together, or if you want to learn more about things like that, I have a whole entire community full of women just like you that are in the peri and postmenopausal phase. It's called the Vitality Wellness Collective, and it's just for those things and the support and collaboration with other women dealing with the same thing. So guys, if this helped you at all, please take action on it. Please share it with a friend, and I hope to see you next week. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at @SeanCalhoun_. That's SEAN Calhoun_. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show, or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.